Yes, it's true that companies like McDonald's and Coca-Cola have great brand recognition around the world. But in the automotive world where we hang out, they don't hold a candle to the GTI, Grand Touring Injection. And since it began 36 years ago, the GTI has spawned what only could be described as a cult following. Well, this week we're in beautiful Lake Werther in Austria. And for the past 31 years, this is the site for the biggest GTI car show in the world. Over the next 3 days, 150,000, and let's call them as we seize them, GTI fanatics will arrive here. We're going to check the show out and also get a peek at the very first Volkswagen Cabriolet to wear the GTI badge.
Take 50,000 people a day over 3 days, pack them into a tiny village, and you've got the GTI Treffen in Wörthersee. It's wild.
This is the first time I've been to this show, so I've been to a lot of these different shows around the world. A few of the bigger ones in the United States, but I have to say nothing touches the size of this show, without question. They drive from all over Europe to come to a show like this and hang out with other Volkswagen enthusiasts and GTI owners, so it's a spectacle of epic proportions.
The enthusiasts do work on the cars, tune it, spray stuff, take care of the engine compartment, and on the interior you see incredible stuff here. Not everything is tasteful, but it's absolutely made with love and fresh, and you see a lot of nice stuff around here. It's a great event.
I think the success of the GTI and this event here comes from the fact that the GTI fundamentally is based on the Golf. And the Golf is really every man's car. It's the #1 selling Volkswagen. We sell about 700,000 of these things a year. And the GTI is the epitome of the Golf class.
GTI has been around for 35 years. It's an icon for the brand. It is really kind of their halo product. So at the end of the day, it's what attracts all these people to a show like this.
You know, it's no secret that the automotive industry is concerned about the Y generation. They're worried that they're more interested in social media and all the technology that goes with it rather than owning or even driving a car. Well, let me tell you, we got a lot of that young generation here. The question is, can they be found in the new car showroom?
I also read this, and it's in the air that people maybe go more to social networks and computers, and cars not so hip anymore. I think here you get the proof that that is not absolutely true.
Wunderbar. Volkswagen also conducted some business by introducing the first ever GTI Cabriolet, a car that Volkswagen at this time says it has no plans of bringing to North America.
The GTI convertible was born here, was made for this event, was born here. Now it's out in the shops, you can buy it, and it's a fantastic car to drive, of course.
I have to say it was a really nice car, very solid, goes down the road nice, really quiet, probably one of the better soft tops on the market, and overall still has almost all the rigidity that you find in a standard GTI, but in the convertible package, which is pretty rare. Usually the convertible, you have some compromises, but I overall thought the car was really nice.
It's a big responsibility to design cars, and my team is inspired also by events like this. But we have to look into the future, and the next generation of the GTI will be a lot more dynamic and a lot more sporty. So I think the people will love it.
For once, I'm not going to complain about something. More later on Kenzie's Phone.
So what would Snow White drive if she had to take 6 of her vertically challenged pals to work on a regular basis? On this edition of Test Drive, the Infiniti JX35.
The
The Infiniti JX35 is based on Nissan's D platform, the same one that underpins the Murano and Quest. This brings a number of advantages. Until its introduction, if you wanted to accommodate sleepy dopey Doc et al., the only Infiniti to fit the bill was the hulking QX. It's a monster and a brutal gas hog. The JX brings almost the same amount of interior volume without that attendant penalty. This very clever seat mechanism really does ease access to the third row seat. The problem is when you get back here, not very comfortable. The seat sits very close to the floor, which forces your knees up at an ugly angle, and there really isn't a whole pile of headroom. As third row seats go, it's about the same as most of them. You just have to think of this, an emergency place only. The JX35 is powered by Nissan's sweet 3.5-litre V6. In this application, it spins out 265 horsepower and 248 pound-feet of torque. This is enough power to motivate the 2,005 kilograms of leather-lined opulence with the desired alacrity. The power is relayed to the road through a continuously variable transmission and all four wheels. The latter does a very good job of distributing the power to the wheels with grip in a seamlessly quick manner. I hate continuously variable transmissions or CVTs because of the motorboating effect. Basically, if you roll into the throttle, the engine goes up to about red line and there it stays until either the driver submits or finally gets to his desired speed. Now this thing, it too has a CVT, but in this case I could actually live with it because it has a true manual mode. That minimizes the oral assault on your ears. No, it doesn't do much for performance, but it sure does for peace and tranquility. Infiniti's Drive Mode selector allows the driver to choose between normal, sport, snow and eco modes. In all cases, the system remaps the throttle and alters the shift points according to demand. Forget the economy mode unless fuel economy is paramount. It softens things to the point where it feels like the driver's putting his boot in a bucket of porridge. Normal is just fine. The sport mode sharpens things and delivers a much more rewarding drive. Set in sport, the JX runs to 100k in 8.8 seconds. Far from pulse quickening, but enough to keep up with the morning commute. The cabin of this JX35 has been finished off very nicely. Top quality materials, beautiful fit and finish, and if you add a couple of option packages, you get everything you could possibly want, all the way from a great sound system through to a navigation system. The ergonomics, again, equally good with one exception. Down by the driver's left knee, there's a whole bunch of buttons that are not easy to access. When it comes to the handling side of things, the JX35 feels as big as it looks. The softer, comfort-oriented suspension gives rise to a fair amount of body roll when the JX is pushed, and it tends to slip into understeer even if the driver gets mildly aggressive, and this is in spite of the oversized 235/55 R20 tyres. Having explained all of that, given its crossover station in life, the JX handled pretty much as expected. It's sharper than the Buick Enclave and Lincoln MKT, but lagging the Acura MDX and Audi Q7 in terms of its overall handling. If you have the need to ferry 6 or 7 passengers around on a fairly regular basis, this JX35 does it in style. It's also priced to sell. It starts at just under $45,000. However, if you want some of life's little luxuries, well, you've got to start adding packages. And some of those packages require the addition of a second package. In the end, this thing gets fairly expensive. This test vehicle, almost $13,500 worth of options on it. That moves the price from affordable to fairly pricey.
This is the most expensive Ford Focus you can buy, and it's not the titanium model, it's the BEV, and it's priced at $41,199. Why so expensive? Easy, it doesn't come with an engine. The Focus is a battery electric vehicle, as in BEV. Unlike its competitors, the Chevy Volt, Nissan Leaf and the Mitsubishi i-MiEV, all standalone vehicles, the Focus BEV is for all intents and purposes just another Focus. And you know, that's a good thing, because I like the Focus. It's a great looking car. So when I'm driving the electric version, I don't feel like a David Suzuki disciple telling the world that I, and not you, care about the planet. But enough said. Let's find out what you get and don't get for $41,000, less a rebate. Now, I've spent only a few days behind the wheel, mostly around town, where this vehicle belongs. But I did take it on the highway, and that's when the range anxiety really kicks in. Ford says the mileage range is about 160 kilometers, depending on your driving habits, or 100 miles. But we all know that that was calculated not in real-world conditions. Bottom line, though, it's a great ride. But, and yes, you knew a but was coming, since this is a Focus, where do you put the battery? In the trunk, where you normally put your luggage. Not good. Fold the seats down? Not good. But the biggest but is that despite all the cool information in front of you, there's only one gauge you care about, and the one that tells you how much fuel or power you have left. Because believe me, if you go empty, there's not a gas station in this country that's going to help you unless you ask them for their 110 or 220 outlet. Now, empty, charging with a 110 will take 18 to 20 hours full charge. With the 220, 3 to 4 hours. So a few compromises for $41,000, but you know, the biggest one is and has been since the first electric vehicle back in the 1800s, we simply don't have a long enough extension cord. Yes, you can get from A to B and back to A, but it's going to take a lot of planning and a lot of stress. Well, this new Accord comes with some really cool active safety goodies. We've got the usual backup camera. We have a camera to make sure you don't bump into the guy in front. We have a lane changing sensor in case you start to wander over to the other lane. But the one I like is the lane watch. There's a camera embedded in the right side view mirror. And when you're passing somebody and then going back into the lane, and you hit your indicator, look what comes up on this 8-inch screen. It's brilliant and extremely useful. Also, it may teach people, because the only way this thing works is you have to indicate first. It may teach people that you signal before you turn and not during the turn.
He's 12, but he's been racing for 7 years, and for 5 years he's raced 3 cars. So you could say he's got 21 years of experience. He takes things in really well. He absorbs stuff, and you know, he's made his mistakes, and he's taken his lumps, and you know, I think he's gaining some respect around here, and I think he's having a good time with it.
I'm a bundle of nerves from the time he goes out there. I just want him to do well. I mean, a win is nice, but I just like him to do well out there and to learn something.
There's a right place and a wrong place for full-size pickup trucks. I'm Ted Laternus, and I'll tell you what the wrong place is on motoringtv.com.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to drive in a convertible with the top down at 180 kilometers an hour? Sure you have. Well, you could do it here at the Lake Werther GTI car show, and you don't even have to have a convertible.
Okay. We have the GTI Cabrio photo box. It simulates your race face with a speed of 180 kilometers an hour. People love it. In 2 days, almost 800 people. The friends are laughing about it. The people get out of the box having a great big smile on their face, so it's beautiful.
Hop in, Brad. Nice braking, Brad.
Fortunately for you, they work this time.
I'll say. Well, what are we test driving this week?
This is the new Ford Pro. It's a Mazda Ford joint venture. It uses the same powertrain and engine and everything else as the MX-6 or the 626. But as you can see, it's got its own very individual look to it.
We've been around a long time on motoring, thanks to you, our loyal viewers, and also thanks to our sponsors. And with that in mind, we'd like to welcome our newest sponsor to motoring, Pennzoil, along with their retail partner, Walmart. Canadians have trusted motoring for over 25 years now to get their information on cars. So this is a great partnership with Pennzoil and Walmart, because Pennzoil is the leading brand of motor oil in North America, and Walmart is our leading retail partner in North America. So the tips that Bill is talking about are great consumer information, and a lot of the products that Bill's talking about are available at your local Walmart.
The Motoring Tip of the Week is brought to you by Walmart. For everyday low prices on Pennzoil, conventional and synthetic oils.
Our motoring tip of the week concerns synthetic motor oils. Now, all motor oils, synthetic or conventional, perform a lot of functions in the engine. Primarily, of course, we think about the lubrication qualities, but they also cool, they clean, they cushion, they seal, and they protect all the parts in the engine from direct metal-to-metal contact. Now, one of the important qualities of a good motor oil is an extremely low pour point. When we talk about pour point, we're talking about the ability of the motor oil to flow or pour at extremely low temperatures. The lower the pour point, the better the performance of the motor oil in the Canadian climate. That's where synthetic motor oils have a huge advantage over conventional. So when you're servicing your car in the fall and winter, getting it ready for that colder weather, upgrading to a synthetic motor oil change, great thing to do for the performance of your car. Reduces wear and tear in the starter and battery, better protection initially, and if you're in northern or western Canada, it might even be the difference between whether it starts or not if you didn't plug the block heater in. That's your motoring tip of the week.
Everyone wants to be their own boss. The only thing better than being your own boss is being in charge of one. This is the 2013 Ford Mustang Boss 302, and this is a 2-minute test drive. The Boss, like most bosses, is all business. It has a 32-valve, 5-liter V8 that puts out 444 horsepower and 385 foot-pounds of torque. There's a couple of things inside the Boss that I like. First and foremost are the new Recaro sport seats. Yes, they're an option, but they're well worth the money. I also like the fact that it has a real gearbox, a man's gearbox, a true 6-speed, no flappy paddles in here. One great feature of the Boss is the quad exhaust. There are 2 tailpipes out the back, and if you look under the sides, there are 2 small pipes that just add to the sound experience. The Boss is loaded with safety features, but that's not why you buy a Boss. You buy a Boss for this. This is a track key, and it changes over 200 settings, including ignition timing. This key turns that Boss into a race car with headlights. My only pet peeve with the Boss is something it doesn't have, and that's a spare tire. As you can see, the wheel well is completely empty, and that's because it has run flats. Now, run flats are great unless you get a cut in the sidewall like I happen to do, in which case you're standing on the side of the road. For my money, the Boss 302 is the best Mustang yet. Sure, I've driven the Shelby and the Boss on the same track, back to back. The Boss is better balanced, has a close ratio gearbox, and drives way lighter, and I like that. I'm Russ Bond for the 2-minute test drive.
Closed captioning for Motoring 2013 is brought to you by
Greener, fuel efficient, global. This is Chevrolet Now, driving our world forward.
Now, sometimes on this show, I've given the police a hard time. But earlier this year, I talked about hate the sin, but love the sinner. Well, I got a good news police story for you today. I had to get my passport updated, needing new photos. But the car was out of fuel, so I pulled into the Esso station, have my wallet out with the credit cards on the roof of the car, as you would. And of course, Esso gives Aeroplan points, so I had the Aeroplan card out, which of course I keep with my passport, because when else would you need your Aeroplan card except when you need your passport? I fill up, pay for it, notice there's a fuel spill. I push the intercom button to warn the attendant should get this fixed up. The ADD kicks in, I jump in the car and drive to the photo store. I get the pictures taken and I go to pay. Oh no, where's my wallet? Must have fallen off the car. I go back, try and find it, not there. What am I going to do? No passport, no driver's license, no credit cards, no cash, no birth certificate. I don't exist. I'm like Tom Hanks in the airport in that movie. So I figured, police station. Constable Mark Brewster of the Halton Region Police takes all the data. I had memorized my driver's license and passport number, so I wasn't just a typical doddering old fool that forgets everything. He says, we'll go all CSI on this thing. He goes to the gas station, checks the surveillance video, sees me driving away, sees the stuff fall out. A few minutes later, a truck comes up, driver gets out, fills up his truck, picks up the stuff, and drives away. Couldn't get the license plate number, but he did get the name of the trucking company. They phoned the trucking company. Trucking company says, oh yeah, that'd be Tyler Armstrong. Police officer phones him. He says, yep, I'm going to bring the stuff to the police department later on this afternoon. That was my original plan. I had to finish my shift. Okay, maybe he was going to, maybe he wasn't going to, but now we got him on video. Anyway, 7 o'clock, I'm at the police station. Tyler Armstrong shows up. Everything is there. I offer him a $100 reward. He says, nope, I can't take it. I do the right thing in this case. I can't take money for doing the right thing. I said, $20, put some gas in your truck. Nope, can't do it. I lost my wallet a few years ago down in Arizona. I know exactly how it feels. I got 2 young kids. I have to do the right thing. What better guy to find my stuff? So, Tyler Armstrong, you're my hero. Constable Mark Brewster of the Halton Region Police, you're my hero. And yes, it was a stupid thing to do, but it's not going to happen again. You know why? I've got technology on my side. I'm Jim Kenzie.
Now, not everybody here at this GTI Lovin' is a prospective owner. However, Volkswagen has no problem selling that car here in Europe. The big target, of course, is the US of A. And the Volkswagen Group has big plans there. They want to sell about 800,000 vehicles by around 2018. They're selling about 3.5 right now. Well, the GTI could be a big step in that direction. The challenge is to harness half the enthusiasm they find here and take it across the pond. That's it for now. Before we go, make sure you check us out at motoringtv.com, and we want to hear from you, so join us on Facebook and Twitter and check out our YouTube channel. That's it for now. We'll see you next time out as we continue to bring you more stories about cars and the people who drive them.
You know, for us, we really do have this strong desire to return to being the standard of the world. And in order to regain that mantle, what it takes is, number one, leadership in terms of product. And so for us, the XTS is significant because it is part of the DNA of Cadillac, a large luxury vehicle, a comfortable vehicle, but we're really modernizing the formula.